This just in. Is the big bad wolf coming to Manitoba this weekend alongside the Colorado Low? I think so, because he's huffing and puffing and blowing the storm north into northern Manitoba. Well, most of it anyway. Let's go. Well, good afternoon, everyone. This is Justin with the Weather Center of Manitoba coming to you with finally a major update here on this monstrous Colorado Low that's going to be impacting the entire province in some way, form, or fashion over the next 3 to 4 days. And we're going to start by looking at our high rapid refresh model, our 16 Zulu run, showing our first impacts from this system beginning tonight, going into early Thursday morning, as we have a low pressure system that is starting to form here over the state of Montana in the United States, and it's going to want to be slowly lifting northeastward toward southern Manitoba and southern Saskatchewan. And what this is going to do is set up a boundary somewhere in here across southern Saskatchewan into extreme southwestern Manitoba tonight into Thursday morning, as we have, again, that low pressure center developing over portions of central and eastern Montana in the States. And then we have, I will show you up here across parts of central Manitoba, a high pressure system that is kind of sitting over central areas of the province. We got a pressure here of 1014 millibars, and then down here in Montana we have about 1000 millibars, maybe even down toward 998, 996 millibars over central portions of Montana. And when we have both of these areas fighting for the same real estate, which would be southern Saskatchewan, southern Manitoba, we have a gradient and boundary set up with tight isobars bringing strong gusty winds and some precipitation, as you can see here on the high rapid refresh, starting to form across southeastern Saskatchewan and southwestern Manitoba around midnight to 3 a.m. tonight into early Thursday morning. And then we can play this model through, and that area of precipitation will continue to push northeastward from there into the early morning hours of Thursday and reach Winnipeg and the Red River Valley and southeastern Manitoba. By the time we're waking up tomorrow morning, we can see that that snow is reaching Winnipeg and places like Morden-Winkler, Carman, Emerson, Morris, that southeastern corner of the province. And so with this area of precipitation, we're mainly looking at blue, which is indicative of snow. But back here across southeastern Saskatchewan, we do have an area of some freezing rain, maybe even mixed in with some rain. But I think across southern Manitoba, it's mainly going to be snow with maybe some trace amounts of freezing rain into early Thursday morning. So let's look at our rapid refresh model. This is similar to the high rapid refresh that we just looked at. It's just another short range CAM model we call convective available model. And again, it shows that boundary setting up here across southeastern Saskatchewan and southwestern Manitoba tonight. Again, right around midnight to 3 a.m. Brandon, southwestern Manitoba getting into that snow. And then by the time we get toward 4 or 5 a.m., we got areas like Morden-Winkler, Portage, east towards Eli, even Winnipeg starting to get into some of that snow again by the time we're waking up tomorrow morning, Thursday morning. And then throughout Thursday afternoon, about 1, 2 p.m., that snow lifts up towards Gimli and Lake Winnipeg and kind of peters out. But what I want you to notice are the isobars across southern Manitoba tomorrow afternoon. You can see all these lines, just how tight they are across definitely southern Manitoba. We can see that, and what that is indicating and showing us is that there's going to be some very gusty winds tomorrow, Thursday afternoon, across the entirety of southern Manitoba, even moving north up into central portions of the province as well. Now, we'll probably be seeing wind gusts likely in that 50 to 60 kilometer per hour range, as we have, again, that low pressure here across Montana trying to propagate northeastward, but it is running into a little bit of a high pressure system that we have here up across eastern Manitoba. And when those two areas again are fighting toward one another, as indicated here, we know that there's going to be some strong wind gusts setting up right in the middle, in between the low pressure area and the high pressure area We have strong winds here tomorrow afternoon across southern Manitoba. So now we're going to look at our HRDPS model. This is Environment and Climate Change Canada's model, showing basically a high rapid refresh like resolution, but based from the RDPS model here in Canada. And it shows that this afternoon there's going to be a little bit of an area of snow across central Manitoba, maybe up to about 5 centimeters or so through the northern interlake areas just north of Lake Manitoba and Lake Winnipeg, basically Flin Flon, the Paw eastward through Grand Rapids, and then over further more toward the eastern sections of the province where the province begins to bend northeastward. And if we continue going, we see that the HRDPS model shows that snow along the boundary across southern Manitoba, and it shows a pretty healthy amount of snow at that. Potentially up to 10 centimeters of snow in Winnipeg and across the Red River Valley. Generally in this red circle across southern Manitoba, there's going to be anywhere between about 4 to 10 centimeters of snow overnight, tonight, into tomorrow or Thursday morning. So just watch out for that. Going to be some snow, and then if those winds really do pick up tomorrow, Thursday afternoon, could also be some blowing snow. Okay, so now let's look at our European model, and it's going to be really showing us why I believe northern Manitoba is going to be getting into the winter storm and blizzard from this upcoming Colorado low, and it's not really going to be as much across southern Manitoba. There will still be some impacts across southern Manitoba, but I really, really believe that northern Manitoba is going to be getting the winter storm and the blizzard conditions, especially Friday into Saturday. But let's start off here on the European model, looking at what I was just showing you. It's showing, again, that 1018 millibar high pressure system across central Manitoba, and then kind of low pressure here over BC and southward into the States through Oregon, and then east into Montana. This is all a large low pressure area. And then we have that little bit of a boundary setting up in the middle through southern Saskatchewan and southern Manitoba. And that's why we're going to be having, again, that 4 to 10 centimeters of snow overnight tonight into Thursday morning across southern Manitoba, because of that little sneaky boundary there that's going to be setting up. We continue going through time. We're just going to be expecting a lot of wind across southern Manitoba tomorrow and continuing through tomorrow night, Thursday night. And then this is Friday morning, and I want you to focus on this area across northern Saskatchewan and going into northern Manitoba. We see that there is a heavy band of snow across central and northern Saskatchewan, propagating eastward into kind of west northern Manitoba. Thursday, tomorrow night, into the early morning hours of Friday. And if we continue to play this model through, we see that that snow doesn't really move very far, and it just sits over that area like Flin Flon, the Paw eastward toward Thompson, Manitoba, for hours and hours and hours, and it's still snowing over Flin Flon, the Paw, Thompson, now propagating even further eastward and northeastward towards places like Shamattawa, York Factory, Gillam, and Churchill as we get into Friday night, into the early morning hours of Saturday. And then that snow is still impacting, especially that Thompson area, I think is going to be the epicenter for the winter storm. Friday to Saturday, still snowing there in Thompson. 12 Zulu Saturday morning, which would be about 10 a.m. And then going into Saturday afternoon, here's our Colorado low coming up from the States, going into northwestern Ontario, 980 millibar low. That's a strong, deep low pressure system, bringing some winter storm impacts to the extreme southeastern portion of Manitoba as well, hugging the border between northwestern Ontario and Manitoba. And then again, that Churchill area now is going to be getting into blizzard conditions, winter storm conditions, noon hour Saturday, continuing into Saturday night, before finally we have some high pressure that's going to be moving in here, 1015 millibar high pressure system pushing southeastward and forcing that low pressure center to kind of sit right over Hudson Bay Sunday morning. And that snow is finally ending across northeastern Manitoba, but there's going to be some very strong winds here. And what that's going to do is bring, again, a blizzard. I'm almost 100% sure the Hudson Bay coastline of northeastern Manitoba throughout Saturday night going into the first half, if not all day Sunday. So watch out for that if you're in northern Manitoba, especially northeastern Manitoba. I really think that northern Manitoba is going to be getting walloped big time from this Colorado low. That wolf really blew that snow north, I guess. Okay, so we're going to look at our RDPS model now, and this is going to be showing our precipitation over the next few days. Here's that boundary showing up on the RDPS model as well, as we would expect going into tomorrow morning, Thursday morning, bringing about 5 centimeters or so of snow to southern Manitoba. Again, watch what happens here across central areas of Saskatchewan, pushing northeastward from there into northern Manitoba. We see that we're getting some snow into Flin Flon and the Paw Thursday night into Friday morning. By the time people are waking up Friday morning, it'll be snowing pretty good. I'm fairly sure across Flin Flon and the Paw. And then throughout the day Friday, the snow does not let up a whole lot. It continues snowing there. Again, propagates northeastward toward Thompson. Southern Manitoba and central Manitoba, it's windy. But I want you to notice what's happening here is that there is some precipitation, but there's holes in the precipitation. It's not as steady as it is here across northern Manitoba. That's why I believe that our winter storm is going to be here and not as much down here, just because we're not getting that steady precipitation falling. The snowfall, if there's some freezing rain, it's just not going to be accumulating, and we're not going to be getting that ice accretion as much as northern Manitoba is going to be in that constant, consistent snowfall, bringing a major winter storm and heavy snowfall to northern Manitoba Friday into Saturday. And we continue playing this model through, and again, southern Manitoba, it's just patchy precipitation, whereas here across the north, it's consistent. There's no holes in it. It's just snowing steadily across the north. As we go now, this is Friday night into Saturday early morning. This is actually midnight Friday night, and we see that we have snow across western Manitoba, a mixed precipitation, maybe some freezing rain from Portage toward Winnipeg, and then the Sprague area might be getting into some rain along with the Whiteshell region midnight Saturday, and continuing throughout the morning Saturday morning. Northern Manitoba still stuck in that snow from Flin Flon eastward into Thompson, now impacting areas like Gillam, Shamattawa, York Factory up toward Churchill. And look at this here across southeastern Manitoba. I'll just draw you a little circle here to indicate we have some pretty good freezing rain or mixed precipitation, rain-snow mix, Saturday at 12 Zulu, so that's about 10 in the morning. As we continue going through time, southeastern Manitoba just continues to get hammered with heavy winds, rain-snow mix. It's going to be nasty here. If you're going to be traveling, or if you're thinking about traveling from Winnipeg eastward along the Trans-Canada towards Kenora and Dryden in northwestern Ontario throughout the day Saturday, I would cancel that right now because it's looking nasty, and there's probably going to be some at least moderate to major weather impacts in this area throughout the day Saturday. And if you have plans here across northern and northeastern Manitoba, I would consider maybe canceling some plans here as well, because it's just going to be a no-go because there's going to be a winter storm hammering the area Saturday. And then we see our low pressure system and all that precipitation move up into Hudson Bay as we go into Sunday. But I do think that there's going to probably be a full-on blizzard happening here across northeastern Manitoba, including Churchill and York Factory, maybe even Gillam, as we have some very strong winds here and still some falling snow on Sunday morning, but there's going to be plenty of fresh snow on the ground to blow around, causing very poor visibility late Friday night into the entire day Saturday and continuing into Sunday morning and Sunday afternoon across northeastern Manitoba. Okay, so in terms of our amounts, everyone's wondering how much snow are we going to get? Well, let's let this RDPS model run through. And again, we're going to focus on central Saskatchewan, and this is Friday at 10 a.m. and we see an area here across central Saskatchewan, north of areas like Saskatoon, toward Prince Albert, areas north of there as well. we're getting into already an area of 20 to 25 centimeters of snow into northern Saskatchewan by the noon hour Friday. And that snow is just going to continue blasting northeast from there. Flin Flon, the Paw, 20 to 30 centimeters of snow by Friday night. Thompson, already around 20 centimeters of snow by the time you wake up Saturday morning. Could even be more than that. And then that snow axis pushes northeast from there towards Gillam, Churchill, Shamattawa, and York Factory. And generally, in this area across northern Manitoba, we're expecting anywhere between 20 and 40 centimeters of snow over the next 3 to 4 days. Just because we're going to be having a steady area of precipitation, of snowfall, and it's going to be constant, not really letting up over the next 3 to 4 days. So that's going to allow for a lot of accumulation in those areas across northern Manitoba. In terms of southern Manitoba, there is going to be some snow. I think most of the snowfall is going to be east of Winnipeg, again towards Sprague, Steinbach, the entire Whiteshell, and then going east into northwestern Ontario. We're going to be having quite a bit of snow there in this blue circle area. Anywhere between 20 to 30 centimeters of snow. But again, in this area, there's going to be enough warm air where there may even be some thunderstorms throughout the day Friday, starting off with some rain and then transitioning to freezing rain, rain-snow mix eventually Friday night, and then all snow Saturday. Elsewhere across the remainder of southern Manitoba, we're looking at maybe 5 to 10 centimeters of snow with this Colorado low. There may be some pockets of heavier snow, but it's not going to be a lot. Again, most of the impacts are going to be north through much of northern Manitoba. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to show you is our significant weather outlook for the prairies issued by Environment and Climate Change Canada. This is valid for Friday at midnight to Saturday at midnight. So throughout the day Friday, we see that we're into some minor impacts across much of southern Manitoba. In that gray color, that just means minor impacts, maybe up to 5 to 10 centimeters of snow, areas shaded in gray. But there is a risk here, again, across the southeastern corner of Manitoba, including Winnipeg and the Whiteshell region, a risk for some ice accretion due to freezing rain, along with, you see that lightning icon here, which for storm enthusiasts that are getting excited for storm season, it's kind of exciting to see that might be a risk of some non-severe thunderstorms across southeastern Manitoba on Friday, because there's just going to be so much energy with this Colorado low bubbling up and propagating northeastward into southern Manitoba. Now, if we look across northern Manitoba on Friday, the impacts are a little bit heavier. We see that we have this area shaded in yellow with some moderate impacts for Thompson, stretching back southwestward toward the Paw. We're going to be having 10 to 20 centimeters of snow along with some gusty winds. So Friday is not looking nice in that area. So watch out for, again, moderate impacts in the Thompson area of northern Manitoba on Friday. Now looking at our significant weather outlook for Saturday, we have a much broader region where we have yellow shaded here across a good portion of southern Manitoba, especially about Carberry eastward along the Trans-Canada towards Winnipeg, the Red River Valley, the entirety of southeastern Manitoba, up north from there into eastern Manitoba, and then again including that Thompson area and all of northeastern Manitoba. Looking at 10 to 20 centimeters of snow here across northeastern Manitoba and northern Manitoba on Saturday. Across southern Manitoba in the yellow, we see 2 to 4 millimeters of ice accretion potentially and 5 to 10 centimeters of snow. I think there could be more in this extreme southeast corner in terms of our snowfall Saturday. And then areas in gray from the Paw south toward Dauphin and Brandon and southwestern Manitoba, 5 to 10 centimeters of snow potential there, but only expecting some minor impacts. So the area that we're expecting the most impacts is going to be in yellow on the eastern side of the province and especially north through northern Manitoba. Again, I would say if you're in Winnipeg and you have travel plans, especially going eastward into northwestern Ontario throughout Saturday, maybe that's no go. Maybe we should look at canceling or rescheduling if we have anything on Saturday in that area. And then another area where I would look at canceling any plans would be up here in the Thompson area, stretching up northeastward toward Churchill throughout Saturday. I know there's not many roads up here to begin with, but it is still ice fishing season. And please do not be caught off guard with this system across the north. It's going to be bad, and I do expect some warnings to be issued in the next day or two, especially for northern Manitoba. I think that is like the consensus here across northern Manitoba is that it's going to be a pretty impactful system, and the models are really consistent on that now, based on looking at the European model, the RDPS model, the GDPS, the GFS. They're all showing major impacts across the north. So I would say slam dunk for a winter storm up here. Still a lot of uncertainty here across southern Manitoba, but we'll continue to watch that over the next few days. Last but not least, we're looking at NOAA-DESI model here. We're looking at the national blend of models, and this is showing our probability of 72-hour snowfall more than 12 inches, a foot of snow, 30 centimeters, and generally in this area from Flin Flon, the Paw, northeastward into Thompson, stretching up toward Churchill, we're looking at right now about a 70 to 80% chance of at least 30 centimeters of snow in this area that I just circled in red. So that's why I'm thinking it's pretty much a slam dunk for a pretty impactful winter storm across northern Manitoba, whereas across the south, there's still a lot of uncertainty. Now we will look at our probability of 72-hour freezing rain more than 1/10 of an inch, which would be like 1 to 3 millimeters of freezing rain over the next few days. And we see that the main area for freezing rain is going to be across south central, stretching eastward into the entirety of southeastern Manitoba. Places like Portage, east into Eli, Winnipeg, south along 75 toward Morris, Emerson, and then stretching back toward Morton Winkler, including also the entirety of the Whiteshell region and specifically the Interlake region here, places like Gimli, Selkirk, and then stretching north into Arborg. We're looking at a pretty good shot here. Right now, about a 20 to 40% chance of at least a few millimeters of ice accretion due to freezing rain between Friday and Saturday across this region of southeastern Manitoba. So that's something that we're going to have to really watch out for across the south, where maybe we're not getting that blizzard, but there's going to be more widespread impacts between rain, thunderstorms, freezing rain, some heavy bands of snow. It's just going to be such a big mixed bag across the south. Whereas the north, we're confident in a major winter storm, blizzard conditions Friday into Saturday, and not really looking at any rain or freezing rain across the north. That's going to be here across southeastern Manitoba. So if you made it through this video, thank you so much for watching. Again, this forecast is produced by Justin Ortel with the Weather Center of Manitoba. Thank you so much. Like the video, comment. If you have any questions, I'll definitely get back to you and answer those. And please subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for your continued support, and stay tuned for further updates.